Good afternoon. Let me express my gratitude and appreciation to the St. John's Bread of Life family and to all the volunteers. I'm even seeing good friends, good lawyer friends that are here. These are Houstonians from all walks of life. Having come in from Ukraine last night, getting here about 1 or 2 in the morning, I wanted to make sure that I came to emphasize to Houston in this season of Easter, Passover, and Ramadan, that we are blessed in spite of our challenges, and the giving that is needed by our community that we did for the last 2 years, it is not over. That people are still in need. In spite of the numbers that suggest unemployment is low, food is low in people's homes. And so I am gratified to the volunteers and want to encourage more food distribution as we go into the summer months to ensure that impoverished families or those who are trying to make ends meet can do so. And so I'm delighted to partnership with St. John's, which is what I intend to do with my mission, which is to continue testing and vaccinating until we beat this pandemic. Many people say it will be with us. It is with us because people in many instances are still not vaccinated in this community. We're still at a 30 to 40% unvaccinated rate in the Houston-Harris County area. I keep trying to tell parents it's important to get their children 5 years old and up to be vaccinated. As we go into the summer months, summer schools, summer camps, there are breakthroughs, but one thing about breakthroughs, if there are and you're vaccinated, you are less likely to be hospitalized. My congressional office in Washington, in its service, gets impacted by COVID, and we're tested regularly. But our staff gets exposed with the people that are coming, and you see congressional staffs and members getting COVID. 10 to 15 members got COVID just a week ago in the United States Congress. I can't emphasize enough what COVID can do. And if you're not vaccinated, you're hospitalized. So I'm very glad to be able to have the equipment and resources to vaccinate and to test. Now let me be clear, we've had 1,000,002 cases in Harris County, 10,912 deaths as of April 16. People are still dying with COVID. Texas has had 6.72 million cases, some of the highest in the nation, 87,986 deaths. United States, 80 million, 6 million cases. And I've seen news reports early on when they were reporting 300,000 deaths. Look where we are today. We will reach 1 million. We're 988,000 dead from COVID. Omicron is coming back again. And so we believe that it is crucial that we continue to vaccinate, test, and feed people who are in need. So I want to again thank the Bread of Life, and some of you who are watching, why don't you just come back here? You're volunteers. The media won't do anything to you, so come on back here and stand and be seen, because that's how we're going to get this done, is that we have volunteers, 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 volunteers. And you have to come week after week after week. Freddie Jackson, come on. You don't have to stand and look. Freddie Jackson, firefighter, come on. So let me emphasize that hospitals are still hospitalizing, and even children can still be hospitalized with COVID. So we're in our, I'll give that number shortly, but we're in sort of our 89th testing site. I think we're in our 81st vaccination site. And our mission, Pastor Rasmus, is to continue really into the eradication, or at least provide people free vaccines and testing as much as we can every week. and we will find places throughout the community to set up shop. I want to thank United Memorial Medical Center for their leadership. Let me add something else as I bring up Pastor Rasmus. I indicated that I spent a week in the region of Poland, Denmark, Berlin, Germany, speaking to leaders about the crisis in Ukraine. We ended at the border of Ukraine and a reception center and a briefing as well as the viewing of Ukrainians walking across the border with suitcases and children, all of their belongings to their name. They were not in a U-Haul, they were not in a car. They had two little suitcases, they had their children, two dogs, and they just kept coming. That was not the surge of weeks ago where 100,000 people were at the border. But what it did tell me is that where there's a will, there's a way. Come back to Houston to be able to have us to embrace our values. What are our values? We are a nation of laws, but a nation of immigrants and migrants. 2 million people have left Ukraine, all coming through the Warsaw, the Polish border. 2 million people have added to the population of Warsaw, Poland. Almost like you lifted up Houston and put it in Warsaw. 180,000 new children. And I made my cause in going to Ukraine, the children. 2/3 of Ukrainian children in a 55 million person country have been displaced. 2 million. 200 of them have been killed. It is a children's nightmare. Children have been trafficked. There are unaccompanied children. Children were not initially registered. Children watched their parents killed. Children were found sitting with the dead parents, leaning on them. And with the position that Putin has taken, many of us thought this would be a fair weather war. In a couple of days, we thought that Putin would stand down. I spent a week in February in the region and was in Lithuania when the Russians came in, still hoping that they would not come. Lithuania is a very small country in the Eastern Bloc. And we were hoping with all of our talks and other dialogues that they would not come, but they did. In the early morning of February the 24th, the very next day I met with Ukrainian member of parliament who indicated his son had already left for the war within 24 hours, that he was leaving our meeting 17 hours. He's going to go by train to get to Ukraine and either check on his family or join the war. So we have had our challenges in the United States. I do not wish on this weekend to underestimate the poverty, the crime, the needs of Houston. Frankly believe that I happen to be able to address and feel passion for those who suffer here. But we are in a war that who knows how far it's going to go. The least that we can embrace, which I'll be calling upon and working with our State Department, is to ensure that the children are not lost forever, that they can be reunited with parents or loved ones if they exist, and that we do not have children fall into the trap of human trafficking because they have no one. And that the nightmare for Ukrainian children will end, and that if by chance we have a surge of Ukrainian, African, Haitian, Central and South Americans coming through the border, that the United States and the people of Texas can show the same kind of humanity that was shown by the people in Europe, and in this instance, the people of Warsaw, Poland. I met with the mayor and invited him to Houston to meet some of the generous leaders like Pastor Rudy Rasmus. His cry is that he needs help for the children. That is what I hope that we'll be able to frame faith institutions and others that can help provide either resources, teachers, and other aids for these new children that have come into Warsaw with families that are now there. 300,000 are in the houses of other citizens of Warsaw. There are no tents. There are no big shelters. They're in the homes. That may not be able to be sustained, but they took them in. Just imagine 300,000 Houstonians with people in their homes that are strangers. I thought this was a story worth telling to our community, that our giving can be further enhanced by knowing what others are going through and what we might be going through as well. So again, 2/3 of the Ukrainian children have been displaced. 180,000 new children are in Warsaw. 2 million new residents are in Warsaw. Ukrainians are still leaving. More will probably come and leave because the next battlefield is in the Black Sea, and it will be around Odessa and countries like Moldova and Romania. We are not in the war. We're separated by oceans. But because Ukraine is the breadbasket of the world, many of you did not know that. We thought we got our wheat from down the road and up the road. Our wheat comes from Ukraine. They apparently have the sweetest soil, and that is being shut down. The bread to the world, bread of life, is being stymied to developing nations like Africa and Asia and the United States. And so there will be a little pain that we will feel if this war continues. $800 million was just given in the last 48 hours or so by our administration. Javelins, drones, heavy armor on the ground, and the armor that was used, the ammunition that was used to take down the largest naval vessel of Russia, its pride and joy, was shot, if you will, and destroyed by the little Davids of Ukraine. We as Americans, as we go into our moments of prayer this weekend, let us remember again the children, which will be my commitment to try and work with Warsaw and work with those children and all the children that are coming over. And of course, families who've lost their loved ones, their children. These are 2-year-olds and 6-year-olds, 12-year-olds. These are children that are being killed, and that will now be the target because Vladimir Putin wants to threaten and intimidate the population, and rather than let the population escape, he will kill the civilian population. 20,000 of them killed in Mariupol, 100,000 trying to get out, but they're still being bombed, and that it makes it very difficult. So, Pastor Rasmus, I'm very grateful to all of your leadership for doing this, and John Marsden, who has been doing this as well. Certainly Morgan Rasmus, the Director of Operations, that you're very proud of, I know. Dr. Sarah Simmons, Audrey Brown, Gabby Martinez, Rosalina Martinez, Clara Smith, and Amanda Sapp at 102.5. I see her moving around here. And UMCC, Yambola, Sabrina, thank you all so very much. And our HPD officers. So, Pastor Rasmus, if you would come to say a word at this time.
Okay, thank you, Congresswoman. We are grateful for your ongoing support of our mission, our ministry here. Bread of Life started years ago, serving the needs of Houston's most challenged citizens. Here we are 30 years later, still serving the needs of families that are food insecure. Today is one of those days, every first and third Saturday. And none of this could happen without the support of amazing partners. One, our Congresswoman, who has always made sure we had whatever we needed here to meet the needs of those who were in need in our community. Also, Matthew 25 Ministries out of Cincinnati ships us about $5 million in Procter & Gamble products every year, and we are indeed grateful. We thank each of you who are watching this, and we are grateful to you for your ongoing support for this amazing team at the Bread of Life. I am grateful to just work alongside of you. And Congresswoman, you have been an amazing representative for many years. We are in the Congresswoman's district right now, standing there. Absolutely. And for all of the years the Congresswoman has been in her position, we have had what we've needed to meet the needs of our community. So we indeed thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you again. Thank you. Freddie Jackson, I'm going to call on you because you are the energized volunteer that never stops.
That's right.
Retired firefighter Freddie Jackson, listen to what I've said, and we thank you for being out here helping the food insecure people, but helping anyone who's in need.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you too.
All right.
Want me to say a few words?
That's what I was giving you a word.
All right. I just wanted to say thanks for the invite by the Bread of Life. I've partnered with them, and so our duty is to make sure that we continue to serve the underserved. And so with the help of the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, always being there for us for whatever we need, and also to come out and show her support herself. You know, I don't know if you saw it a while ago, but she was putting some of our distribution goods into the cars. And so we love it when you come out and show your participation, and it's not just about the community working, but you work with the community, and we really appreciate that. And happy Easter to everyone. And on behalf of the Houston Black Firefighters Association, we wish everybody a great, great Easter.
And how long were you a firefighter?
I was a firefighter in Houston for 33 years. Started in 1973, ended in 2006. But I did not retire from the community. So I'm still involved, even though I've been retired 16 years, I'm still working for the community, and that's going to be until I'm out of here.
He's still putting out community need fires, for sure. This is our wonderful nurse. We want you not to be afraid of getting vaccinated or tested. I had the test coming back into the United States, and if I was positive, I would still be in Ukraine. So you're going to see your family members. This is a time when people are getting out over the summer and spring. Mother's Day is coming up. Get tested. Testing is regular. So people said, I was tested back in February. Oh, that's... take advantage of being able to be tested, all right? So, come on and say a word about how happy it makes you when people are vaccinated and tested. Give it your name.
Hi, my name's Sabrina. I work with UMMC. There's been a lot of cases, so it's really recommended for you guys to get tested and vaccinated, and so we could just save our family, our kids, mothers out there. So it's important. You see a site, just go ahead and get tested and get vaccinated. It'll help us all be safe and secure. By Sheila Jackson Lee as well. She's always been pushing everybody to get vaccinated. So let's get it all together, guys, and just get vaccinated.
Here we are the day before Easter. We never give up. Thank you so very much. Let me finish with appreciation, but again, in this season of prayer in many different faiths, let us remember the people who are in need around the world. There are starving persons suffering around the world. South Africa has experienced devastating floods, a loss of life, and in our own communities, let us remember the children. Remember what I said. The UNICEF, which is the United Nations Agency for Children, have said that the Ukraine war is a children's nightmare. And we are trying to confront that devastation by gathering community members as I go forward, but also to partner with the city of Warsaw and try to be able to help the children that have landed there, and the children also that are still coming, and the children who've been orphaned by the war, and the children who have been lost, unaccompanied, can't be found in their families, and the children who have been trafficked, and the women who have been sexually assaulted. War is an ugly thing, and let us pray for peace, but also let us pray for the values of this nation that are democracy, and for they to be victorious. So again, I will be calling for mass registration of those children that are coming across the border, and to capture the children that are already there, to be registered, to protect them, and to set up firewalls to protect children from human trafficking and women from sex trafficking, and to be able to continue to be involved with Ukraine and the armored weapons that they need as they prepare to wage a battle of their lives in the Black Sea and that region. And I thank you all so very much. Are there any questions? Then I'm going to thank you, and let me thank the volunteers very, very much. This community could not do this without the volunteers. We are grateful for all of you. Let me thank my staff, where 2 or 3 are gathered, and volunteers, they make things happen. And then UMCC. So I want to thank you all very much. We don't let anything, any bump in the road does not stop the staff of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. So I'm going to publicly thank them, and our adopted staff as well. We appreciate you all very, very much. Thank you again. Remember what I said. Remember the children. This is their greatest nightmare. And while we sit here today, children in Ukraine are being killed, are being bombarded with heavy weapons. And remember the people of Mariupol, 20,000 are dead. 100,000 of them are trying to get out, and they cannot get out. Please keep them in prayers as you keep others who are desperate in prayer as well. Is that all right? All right. Thank you all so very much.